If I could, I would just like to start off by recognizing and thanking the Micron Technology Virginia team and the transformation team that I'm representing today for all of their hard work. In my presentation, I'm actually going to showcase some of the tools and the strategies that we've used that we really think have helped over 1,500 of our team members navigate through a lot of change. Just to share with you a little bit about Micron, in case you're not familiar with us, we've been in business for over 30 years, and we have over 30,000 employees worldwide, so we're a pretty large company. We design and build advanced memory and semiconductor technologies, and you likely use our memory every single day in your cell phone, in your computer, and nowadays even your car. We have manufacturing facilities across the globe, and what I'll share with you today are some efforts that have come from our manufacturing site located in Virginia, and that's where I'm currently located. A little bit about some of the changes and challenges that we've had as a company. In the world of semiconductor manufacturing, things always change. Change is constant. It's pretty challenging, but we in 2013 didn't just go through another change. We actually embarked on a company transformation. So really, change for us meant transforming the way that we do our business, and we started down a very aggressive path towards some goals to quickly advance us ahead of our competition in the industry. So if you've ever been through transformation, it can be very challenging. And to do this and do this well, we really needed to make sure that we were doing everything that we could to have all of our team members on board. We really essentially had to make sure that we were going to win over the hearts and minds of each and every one of our team members. Connecting with them was really important, and we really needed to help our team members embrace the changes that were happening and then give them some tools that they could use to navigate through all of the changes that would be coming their way. So just so that you know, and at our Virginia location, at our manufacturing facility, as part of this corporation transformation, we experienced significant changes to our site mission. This is really how we contribute to the Micron network, and how we had done things in the past had to look very different. And because of the magnitude of the changes that we were going to be experiencing, we really had to put the time and the resources behind making this a very successful transition. So what we did was we started off by putting together a core team. So within HR and our site leadership team, we pulled together a cross-functional team of leaders and individual contributors, and you can see our picture there. These were individuals that were identified across the organization as influencers. These were individuals who were skilled in their respective areas, but also these were individuals that were enthusiastic about change. This was a dynamic group, and we called ourselves internally Transformation Warriors. So you can see the warrior t-shirts that we're wearing and the symbol for warrior, which means brave person for us. So this is our transformation team, and really the purpose of our team was to leverage all of the knowledge and the experience and the different perspectives to really help us determine how are we going to transition from our old site mission to our new site mission. Things were pretty open for us, but there were a couple things that we were bound by, and I'd like to share those with you. These became our design principles. Our approach had to definitely be tied to our new fab mission. It had to be leader-driven and led, so we really needed the support and the guidance and the ownership of our leaders. It had to be rooted in our Micron behaviors, which is really how we work at Micron. So many companies might have values, but we have Micron behaviors that we align in across the company. So we really had to provide a way to help our team members see that by demonstrating these Micron behaviors, they could help us achieve the new site mission. The last thing that we had to consider was that we weren't trying to change our culture completely because we weren't starting from ground zero. We have a great team of people. We've been very successful in the past, and we wanted to leverage that. Really, we were using this as an opportunity to refresh our culture, if you will. So with these principles in mind that we had, we pulled together our brains and our resources, and determined that through this process we could leverage learning tools and approaches. And that included emergenetics, it included ProSci's change management methodology, and psychology principles. So what I'm going to do is I will share with you some of the examples of how we did just that. So with emergenetics, within our core transformation team that you see here, we leveraged emergenetics in a couple different ways. So we selected all of our team members first, but then we validated that we had diversity in the team by using the emergenetics tool. And you can see our emergenetics profile there for the team. Each person in the team was given the opportunity to share with everyone else the strengths that they brought to the team. And this was really important because we wanted to make sure that we were really leveraging all of the gifts that we had within this core team. Also, we wanted to make sure that we were giving each team member the opportunity to kind of stretch their ways of thinking by listening to the strengths that other people were bringing to the team. We also took some time to go through some emergenetics resources that we had. Excuse me. And these were things that covered like communication strategies and learning strategies. And really, we wanted to make sure that we were refreshing the team on all of the different ways that we could leverage emergenetics concepts and principles as we began to generate some ideas. Regarding change management, this was important for us, and we had each of the core team members receive some training on ProSci's change management methodology, in particular really focusing on how we were going to help our team members transition through the change process. If you're familiar with ProSci's methodology, it says that for individuals to really go through the change process, they need a couple things, and they need awareness around the need to change. They need desire to participate in the change. They need knowledge on how to change. They need the ability to implement the needed skills and behaviors, and also they need reinforcement to sustain the change. So our core team was really challenged with taking these principles and coming up with ways to help our team members go through this change process. We did have an open brainstorm session, and this was pretty focused on generating ideas for building awareness and building desire and building reinforcement. At this point in time, when we did have our brainstorming session, we did have some direction that we were going to be holding a workshop, and that's where we could spend some time focusing on awareness, desire, and then also knowledge. Regarding the psychology principles, the team received an overview of Robert Cialdini's Principles of Persuasion. And this was to give some insight on how we could influence behavior, but in a very positive way, during times of change for our team members. So each core team member was encouraged to think about the principles of liking and reciprocity, consistency, authority, and scarcity when they were generating their ideas. So a lot of work was going on within this team. And based on the work that we did and what came out of our brainstorming results, we decided that it would be best if we separate into three separate teams. So we did branch off. We branched off into an event team, a workshop team, and then a communications team. So what I'll do is I'll spend a little bit of time walking you through some details behind those teams. All right, so here we have the event team. The event team is really focused on helping to build awareness and desire for all of our team members through a significant site kickoff event. And you can see some pictures from that on the screen. We really needed our team members to see and feel that we were changing. And this was a way for us to mark our transition from the old site mission that we had to our new site mission. Really, it was a way to mark the beginning of our transformation journey. The team voted on having a carnival-themed event, and through this carnival, team members could learn more about our new site mission. They could demonstrate our Micron behaviors through some interactive activities and exercises. They could learn more about each department across the site. And then also they had the opportunity to collaborate with other team members, especially team members that they may not normally have the opportunity to collaborate with day to day. It's important to know that we are a 24-hour facility, but we did form a very shift-friendly schedule across 2 consecutive days because we wanted to make sure that all of our team members would be able to participate. Each department was responsible for showcasing one of our 6 micron behaviors through a hands-on activity or exercise. Just to share an example with you, within our HR team, we were responsible for the micron behavior of lead through teamwork, trust, and accountability. So what we did was we created a version of Words with Friends, and all team members who came and participated, they had to generate words that related to that micron behavior. They also had to consider not just the word, but the placement of the word. They gained points for their department. But another thing that they had to do to demonstrate the behavior was that they couldn't work alone, so they had to collaborate with someone else on this challenge. Just to share with you an activity or an exercise that showcased the department was the facilities experience that we had. So during this opportunity, team members received a tour of our grounds, and this is where they really got some insight into the operations that help keep our fab running for 24 hours a day. So you can see the picture down at the very bottom where we have some team members that are going on that tour. These are just a few of many, many activities and exercises that happened during the 2 days. You can see some of the other pictures from the 2 days. Overall, the Carnival, a huge success, definitely by making the event very fun and engaging and something that each department could contribute to. I really think that we were able to create a memorable experience for all of our team members. So next, I'd like to share with you some of the work that came out of the workshop team. This team was very focused on helping to build awareness, desire, and knowledge around our new site mission through a very comprehensive and interactive 2-day workshop. So we started first with all of our leaders, and then we took all of our individual contributors through. And during this workshop, our team members were able to get some insight into our company history, why our company was going through this transformation, what our new site mission was, and then how they could help us achieve the new site mission through the Micron behaviors that we have. Emergenetics tool was a very powerful tool for us through this process. After we identified the desired outcomes that we had for the workshop, we did leverage the Emergenetics We template to brainstorm some ideas of what we needed to integrate during the 2 days. We really wanted to make sure that during the 2 days it was going to be a real well-rounded experience that was going to appeal to all the preferences and that it would also stretch people's ways of thinking as well. So for example, as an example for our analytical thinkers, we made sure to incorporate some data that supported our transformation. We showcased some metrics that were used to drive our success. We had a lively competitive game. We had trivia, just a couple of things to appeal to that attribute. We also didn't miss out on the emergenetics behaviors. We made sure that we had a good mix of reflective time for our first third expressives and then some large group sharing time for our third expressives. Another way in which we used emergenetics, we had several activities that were designed to leverage emergenetics as a framework for having some discussions. For example, in one of the very first activities that we had in the workshop, we had each participant share a personal transformation story. So they had to share a personal transformation that they had experienced in their life. We consider this to be a social activity or a relational activity in emergenetics terms because it really gave everyone the opportunity to open up and be vulnerable with others in the team. Through this process, I really think that people were able to make some meaningful connections, and it wasn't just about connecting their personal transformation to the transformation that the company was going through, but really making some meaningful connections with other people that were in the room. In another activity, our team members used all of the thinking attributes to talk through their fears and their concerns. And this was really important to hear from team members some of the things that they were worried about. They all started off in the blue space, the analytical space. thinking through some challenges. So what did they see as significant challenges that we were going to be facing as a site, and then also down to their department level. So they identified challenges and then took it even a step further, identifying those things that truly scared them. And not only did they receive a response from our site leadership team on those, which was a pretty powerful experience, but they were able to use the Emergenetics Quad later that day to identify some ways to address those concerns. And what I mean by that was later in the day, they used the quad and they identified what are those things that they could control and influence around the concerns that they had. So for example, they had to think green or think structurally. What were the things that they knew had worked well in the past that they could use going forward to overcome the challenges that they were facing? So those are just a couple ways that we used emergenetics. Regarding change management in the workshop, it was used because we really wanted to make sure that we were giving some good awareness around the change that the company was experiencing, also why the change was needed, and then what would happen if we didn't make these changes. To drive this point home, we had all of our team members watch a video that describes the concept of the default future. So basically, this video describes the default future as, what will likely happen if nothing unexpected comes along. So basically for us, that was, what would happen if we didn't change anything and just stayed business as usual. And here we had all of our team members. They were given the opportunity to describe what our future state would look like if we didn't make any changes. And I really think that through that exercise, it really did help foster some desire within the team. I think when our team members kind of looked at where our future was going if we didn't do anything, it really, I think, engaged them in a way that they wanted to participate and be very on board with the transformation. In addition, another thing that we did to help with the change process was that we gave some knowledge on how to change by giving our team members some time to think through the responsibilities that they had. So they were thinking about the work that they do every day and how they go about doing that work. And they did a stop, start, continue exercise. So making sure that they were able to align the work that they were doing and how they do their work with our new site mission. Another thing that we did was we provide some knowledge around the power of habit. So through the workshop, each team member identified a Micron behavior that they wanted to focus on, that they wanted to get better at, leverage, whatever, but that would really help them be successful and help us achieve our new site mission. So they selected a Micron behavior to focus on, and then they used the habit model to generate cues, routines, and rewards around that Micron behavior. And this is where we really asked them to leverage their emergenetics preferences to help as they identified meaningful cues, routines, and rewards. With the psychology principles, this is where we leverage Cialdini's principles in this part. We really wanted to find some ways to engage our team members, but in a positive way. So for example, we had all of our facilitation was led by leaders, and the leaders weren't just identified because they were skilled at facilitation or presenting, but they really were selected based on their ability to relate and connect with the audience. So our leaders had to share some personal examples and share stories that really humanize the entire experience for all of our team members. Regarding the principles of commitment and consistency, in the workshop where I was talking about the team members identifying a Micron behavior, after they identify that Micron behavior, they had to share it. So they shared it with one other person. So what was the behavior that they chose? Why did they choose it? And then they also signed their name to it to show their commitment. Just a little bit more detail about that. Each team member was given a puzzle piece that they could sign in a color that represented the Micron behavior they wanted to focus on. And after the workshop, we collected all of the puzzle pieces, and they were placed on a commitment wall that is along our main hallway. This wall is visible to everyone that walks by in our main hall, and it really represents all of the commitments that each of us made to working towards actions that were going to help us achieve our new site mission. So if you see at the bottom of the slide there, you can see the image of the wall, our commitment wall. Regarding the communications team, this was a very valuable team to us. This group stayed very tightly connected to our event team and the workshop team that we had, and they were designing and deploying creative communications. They developed our transformation logo and our slogan, which were used together in various communications that really connected efforts that were happening across the site. Just a little bit about where we are today. So we did complete a goal of taking 1,500 team members through the Mission Transformation Workshop. As part of this process, right now, we're in the process of reinforcing that learning. So each team member is working with their leader to identify and execute towards a development goal. And this is really to identify experiences and actions and learning opportunities that are going to help the team member really focus on that Micron behavior, whether it's improving upon it or leveraging it more. We've also formed a new transformation core team, and that team's really tasked with understanding kind of where we are today, where we still need to go, and then what the next phase of our transformation is going to look like. Just wanted to share with you a couple of the wins that we've had so far. This was a big one for us, I think, and really has contributed to our success, is that we've had involvement and support from all levels of the organization and across the entire organization. This was not an HR effort. This has truly been a site-wide effort. We did hit all of our transformation goals, which was huge for us. We improved in our Micron all team member survey in all areas, and especially those connected to transformation. So this is our engagement survey. We achieved a critical certification that was needed at our site. So even during times of a lot of change, we were still able to get the certification, which was huge for us. We had high participation rates in our Carnival. We've received really high ratings from our evaluations from the workshop, and some of our workshop content and concepts have been leveraged across the globe. Just a couple of the things that we learned along the way, just how important it is to have leadership buy-in and support. We were fortunate enough that we had amazing ownership and buy-in and support from all of our leaders. Another thing that was really important for us is just taking the time to leverage different perspectives as much as we could. So it really was amazing to see everything that we were able to do when we were just willing to stay open and consider all the different ideas and different perspectives along the way. Another thing that was really big for us is connecting with people on a very personal level. So I think when team members are going through times of change, you really do have to engage them on a personal level. And then lastly, just being able to incorporate some of the learning tools that I talked about, being able to take something as successful and powerful as emergenetics and change management and psychology, blending those together and integrating those really did help us through the process. So I think that's all that I have to share. I really hope that it's been helpful gaining some insight into some of the things that we've done and some of the ways that we are trying to engage our team members through some times of change. And I'd be happy to take any questions that you have.
Presentation. Thanks so much, Melissa. This was a really interesting presentation and a great inside look in what probably many organizations go through in some way, shape, or form, but to really get an in-depth perspective on how that worked is something that I think is really valuable for all of our participants. And we had a couple of questions. And one of them that we received on a couple of different levels was this idea of getting that leadership buy-in, or you mentioned that you had started with training for some of the leaders and then moved that to individual contributors. Was that top-down approach important, and what was the concept behind, or the way that you really engaged the top-level leaders and the folks who could drive that?
Yes, it was very intentional having our leaders go through the process first. I think that we understood early on that all of our leaders, they were going through the change too. And because they are so impactful to their team members, we needed to make sure that they were prepared and that they had a voice. And that's why we had all of our leaders going through at least the workshop first so that they could talk through their fears, talk through their concerns, and they would be able to support their team members through the entire process. When you talk about getting leaders involved, whether it was the carnival or the workshop, I think just bringing them in, even from the design process, if you notice with our core team, blending individual contributors and leaders into that team, that did kickstart that process. So just making sure that we, in everything that we did, incorporated our leaders, I think that really did help.
Yeah, that seems like it makes a lot of sense in terms of ensuring that all individual contributors, all team members, all high potential and developing leaders could see that this was something that truly was core to the way that the organization functioned. Uh, we have time for about one more question, and I just wanted to touch on the Carnival itself. It's such an unconventional and really unique, fun approach. Was How did that really come up? I'm just curious as to what that's like. You wouldn't necessarily always think of a company that is very technological, embracing something like that, and I'm sure that people are looking to take some of these lessons back. How did that really come up?
Well, we did have a very creative group, for one, but we also, we had a lot of leeway from our highest level leadership team. I mean, this was something that we would have probably maybe never done 5, 10 years ago, but because this was such a significant change, I mean, we knew that we were going to have to do things very differently. And to be perfectly honest, we went in thinking, what in the world are we doing? Are we going to be able to pull this off? Is it going to work? Are team members going to understand what we're trying to do? Are they going to participate? And they absolutely did. So this was something very unique to us, but it's a risk that we needed to take, especially with all the changes that were going to be happening. And it actually worked. And just making the event fun and engaging and providing a way for everybody to give some input, so making sure that all the departments were very involved, I think really helped this be successful.
Well, thank you. It seems like a great place to work, and having had the opportunity and pleasure of visiting Melissa and her colleagues at the site and seeing the culture in action, I can attest to that personally. And so I think that we are about at the time where we need to wrap up this presentation. We have a couple of other questions that we will certainly email to our speaker, Melissa, and to any other speakers as you're on the calls today. We will look to provide all of those questions to our speakers so that we can provide answers. And of course, again, all of the sessions will be recorded, and we will also be contributing content in the form of a blog around what some of the lessons learned were from Emergenetics 24 Hours, the full day. And again, please follow us on Twitter as you are logging on to these different sessions at Global 24 Hours hashtag. So thank you so much, Melissa. This was a wonderful look inside the Micron transformation journey.
Thank you so much, Mark, for having me.